A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Going Public. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. And glad to welcome back to the program, Gordy Dove. Gordon, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And now officially the chairman of the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, but you're also on this other panel for the state, right?
Well, I'm on the governor's cabinet.
Right.
Which is all your department heads.
Right.
And it's called the Governor's Office of Coastal Activities.
Right.
So, I'm seated with the governor's cabinet, which is Department of Transportation, Education, et cetera, Health and Hospitals.
Right.
And it's how important that Louisiana takes coastal restoration.
Right, and addressing all of those issues. Speaking of, start off, if you don't mind, telling us a lot of these projects and where we are with those. I know there's a whole list of those.
Yeah. We've compiled a list of projects. These are all on the master plan. They've been on the master plan. No one's pulled a lot of these forward.
Right.
We put together a comprehensive list along coastal Louisiana from east to west. Right. All the parishes, Barry Islands, et cetera, hurricane protection.
Right.
So I'll go over it. What this is a list of major projects. It's in engineering and permitting.
Okay.
And it includes, hurricane protection, Barry Island, floodgates, levee protection, et cetera. A large number of these projects can and will be submitted for approval funding through the NIFWIF NERDA funding, which is the BP oil spills money.
Right.
Since we've terminated the mid-Barrett area, as you know, has been very controversial. Right. Because it ran out of money a long time ago, but there's a lot of other issues. The Corps suspended it. Right. The Corps suspended the permit for various reasons, and you could actually go on the Corps website and you could see why they suspended the Corps. Oh, okay. Why the Corps suspended the permit. Right. They had a lot of issues with it, which would take us an hour to go over.
Okay, gotcha. But they can review that if they'd like.
With that, it releases $2.3 billion with a B.
$2.3 billion.
$700 million. Which can only be used for barrier islands or diversions, and we're not doing any diversions. There's one being done, Maurepas, but that's already funded. Okay. So we were able to spend $700 million, which we wouldn't have had before, and about $1.6 billion on land bridges and everything else that I'm fixing to go over with. Oh wow! So this is a realistic list that will happen and can happen. We are going to expedite the permitting. I don't know if you've seen in the big beautiful bill, President Trump put in there that environmental assessments, which usually can take 2 years, has to be done in 6 months if you pay 125% fee on it. Okay. And fee on just the fee itself, which is not a lot of money. Right. And then if it's an EIS, environmental impact statement, then it's 125% of what the fee costs, plus it's the core cost too. Okay. So this is and I thank President Trump for that. Yeah. This expedites something we've been pushing for, and actually everyone's still mulling through what the effect's going to be, but the effects is going to be fantastic to help and get these
moving these projects through.
We can't wait.
That's right. They need to be done yesterday.
And remember, a diversion, whether people agree or not agree, it's a 50-year process. Right. And we're going to build everything for 50 years. I don't know how old you're going to be in 50 years. I won't be around to say whether it worked or not.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be here either.
What we're doing is 10 to 12 years right here. Yeah. And maybe a couple of them, maybe 15 years. It'll take us a couple of years to get them started. Right. And then, but the minute we're dredge pumping, we're building land. Right. A 32-inch dredge will build 1 to 3 acres a day a day,
Wow.
depending on the depth that water.
Right, how deep the water
how
is.
high you coming.
Right.
So you're building
Wow.
land the day you're pumping.
Right.
You're
Starts there.
rebuilding the coast. You're not waiting 50 years.
Right. We want to start that as soon as we can.
And that's why I've never been a big proponent of diversion, especially the quality of water in the Mississippi River. I never wanted it in Terrebonne Parish or any other parish.
Right.
If you can help it.
Right.
I mean, you can't help it in St. Mary because it was Mother
that's
Nature.
just the way it was. Right.
So if we could get started with
Go ahead.
projects.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Marsh Island restoration. The Wildlife and Fisheries owns 72,000 acres of that.
Okay.
And so we're going to refurbish that. White Lake, which is in Vermilion Parish, we're refurbishing that. Fouchon segmented breakwater rocks. We're going 8.5 miles from West Bell Pass east to protect our infrastructure there.
Okay.
You're not only protecting Fouchon, you're protecting Loop.
That's right.
16% of the nation's energy comes through Loop, crude oil. But a lot of people don't know 50% of the pipeline refinery capacity comes through Loop.
Oh.
With the pipelines.
Okay.
So you're protecting that besides the economic hub of Louisiana.
Right.
Now, we're not only going to 6 feet with these breakwater rocks, we're going to 10 feet.
Okay.
And to protect it, because Ida really hit them hard.
Oh, yeah.
And we're working with Chet Chasson and his board with the port. And
Right.
we're moving forward with that. And of course, CPRA is funding everything.
Right.
And naturally working with them.
Sure.
Then then you got next to them is East Timbalaya Island, which is in Lafourche Parish, but it protects Terrebonne, as
Right.
you all know.
Right.
And we're putting segmented breakwater rocks on that.
Okay.
That's just a sliver of a sandbar now.
Right.
It's quite a large restoration job. That's
Okay.
been under engineering for a year now.
Okay.
Okay, then we have Wine Island. Wine Island with breakwater. Wine Island is completely submerged. That's in Terrebonne.
Right.
That's right next to Cat Island Pass. And that is a huge undertaking, and that's been under engineering for about a year already.
Right. So I tell you, we're going to take a short break, Gordy. When we come back, we'll talk about Barataria. So we'll come right back and do that. We appreciate all of your insight and certainly all the knowledge you have about this. We're going to go through the rest of those projects when we come back. So Gordy's going to stick with us. You do that as well. We'll be right back right here on Going Public.
Sea-Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea-Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea-Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Going Public. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. Very glad to have with us again Gordy Dove, Chairman of the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. Gordy, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here with us again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get back to those projects. We were on Barataria, so let's get back to the Barataria
As you know,
project.
we've canceled the 75,000 CFS diversion, and we're putting something been on the books for over a decade. Is the Barataria Land Bridge, 23.5 miles. It goes from Plaquemines through Jefferson in the Barataria Bay to the Lafourche Parish line.
Right.
And it's going to create 6,800 acres, and that is dredge pumping.
Okay, like we talked about earlier.
Right. And then another long-distance pipeline settlement we're doing from Barataria into the Lafitte area. Okay. That they've already started some, but they stopped it.
Okay.
And so that's been stopped, but we're doing what they call phase 2 to help protect the people of Lafitte, which is our neighbors.
Right.
Then you have Vermilion, New Iberia levee, and floodgates. That is basically what Morgan's has already built. Terrebonne Parish and Lafourche are 20 years ahead of everyone else.
Right.
So
Right.
we're working with the Vermilion and New Iberia government and St. Mary
Right.
to build them a levee system with floodgates and pump stations.
Right. Much like we have here.
Right. And then in place of the big diversion, with the Corps of Engineers, at 2,500 to 15,000 CFS is called the Myrtle Grove Medium Diversion with dedicated dredging. That was authorized in 2007, and it was canceled in 2015 because people in the state wanted, and I was going out at that time.
Right.
They wanted to build this big experiment called the Mid-Barrett area. And guess what? It didn't happen.
Work. Nope.
It was a shame, but it didn't happen.
Right.
That's a 65% federal funded, 35% state.
Okay.
So we're actually saving $1 billion by letting the federal government build that diversion.
Right.
So we got the Rockefeller rock extension. As you notice, we're doing a lot of segmented rock, and that's off in Calcasieu Parish.
Calcasieu, right.
So
to
we're
our west.
extending those rocks. Something important to a lot of people in Terrebonne, Lafourche, and Grand Isle, Grand Isle segmented breakwater rocks, which is Jefferson Parish.
Right.
You got about 15,000 linear foot still rocks to put in. I was there yesterday.
Okay.
With the Corps.
Okay.
We should start that in about five months.
Okay.
It is $40 million funded by the Corps, $20 million by CPRA.
Okay.
But the Corps is going to be installing the rocks. You know, they're handling the construction.
Right.
Because it's got some federal dollars in it.
Right.
North side of Grand Isle, levees, pump stations. As you know, Grand Isle floods from the north.
Right.
Because of because they subsided, and of course the water has gotten high over the years, but you're subsiding.
Right.
And then this is a very important. The Empire lock system for people in Plaquemine is very important.
Right.
We taking a floodgate and making a lock system. I did 2 of them in Terrebonne like that, where you take a floodgate and add a floodgate and it
becomes a lock.
Which I built one in Bayou Terrebonne below Montague, and the other one in Chauvin. And because we put Chauvin on the force pump.
Right.
So we got Bayou des Allemands floodgate. Presently under engineering and permitting. It's a 270-foot by 20-foot high gate. And Lafourche Basin is handling it, but it protects Lafourche and St. Charles.
Okay.
Remember, when Ida came in, it wiped out Kramer.
Right.
Because the water barrels up it. This has been on the books for 10, 12 years. It should have been built a long time ago. Well, we're moving forward with it. We got a big portion of the funds funded, and we still have a little more funding that we're using Go Mesa funds.
Okay.
And then a natural Mogenza levee system. Tony Alford, been there for 21 years.
Yep.
After Ida, we saw Ida push a 15-foot wave to Lafourche. Now, Lafourche has 18. Those guys have done a great job on South Lafourche and North Lafourche.
Right.
But South Lafourche got their lower levees up to 18 feet. And in Terrebonne, we have 78 miles. We started from nothing.
Right.
And we got them to 12. So now Tony has moved a big portion of that to 15.
15. And we want to keep going higher, right?
The old saying, we need a bigger boat, Pawpaw. You know? Remember this, you can never build too many pump stations, and you can never build a levee too high.
Never build a levee too high. Right.
That's the 2 fundamentals of it. It's not complicated.
Right.
Okay, and then we also we've got funding for Reach 1, which is in Lafourche, from the intercoastal north. That's where they took that big mud wave for Ida.
Right.
So we're trying to close that out. We're also building a gate. With the Corps of Engineers is building and funding a gate right in that area in the intercoastal on the east side, and by the intercoastal by Bonner's Canal.
Okay.
To block us Lafourche and Terrebonne off. That will go to construction in 2027.
Okay.
It's fully federal funded.
Fully federal funded, right. I knew that was, I'd read
And
that.
in the Chandelier Islands, we awarded 13.5 miles. It's under construction. It was awarded.
Okay.
And that's 13 miles. Spanish Pass, we just awarded that. To go to engineering, it's 1,100 acres. That's that Barataria area.
Right.
Then land bridge at Breton Sound. There's 3 land bridges going on as we speak.
Okay.
Then a land bridge at Terrebonne. The Terrebonne Levee Conservation District has kicked off doing a land bridge from Golden Meadow to Lost Lake.
Right.
We're going to build a land bridge at a 3.5 foot and cap it in the middle at 5.5 to 6. We may try to go to 8.
Okay.
So that'll be that, the Barrier Islands will be the first barrier.
Right.
Then it's got to go over this land bridge. Then it hits the Mogenza levee system.
Gotcha. So it's two.
And this has been on the books.
2 different levels of protection.
Nobody's ever moved it forward because we didn't have the money to move it forward.
Right.
And then you got Lafourche the same way. The South Lafourche
Right.
Levee District, we're going to work with them and build from the Terrebonne line to the Jefferson line.
Wow.
Excuse me, from Golden Meadow to the Jefferson
line.
Because
Gotcha.
Terrebonne's going to come all the way to Golden Meadow.
Right.
Okay.
Some great updates. So, Gordon, we're going to take another short break. We're going to pick up right there when we come back.
And we got numerous other projects.
A whole lot more. All right, guys, we'll be right back right here on Going Public.
In South Louisiana, storms are a way of life. Every storm poses a different threat, whether from flooding or hurricane-force winds. At All South Consulting Engineers, we help protect our people from these disasters. Before a storm, we work with our leaders to prevent catastrophic damage. After the storm, we help get the resources needed for rebuilding. We have helped our cities, parishes, and school boards recover over $2 billion to rebuild our community. We'll be here for the next one.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Going Public. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it, and always glad to have with us Gordy Dove. Gordy, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And look, Gordy, we were talking about there's these projects we went through, but there's lots of other things, right?
There are a lot of other projects. I focus on a lot of this area from St. Charles this way, but I went as far as Plaquemines, and
Sure.
so I try to explain all the major projects.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
I'm over the entire Gulf Coast.
I like
which
it.
is 24 parishes.
Well, let's talk about the coastal program from 2007 till now and all the great things that have been done.
Right. You had $21.5 billion in funding. You have 93,298 in acres, which is 146 square miles of land benefited.
Wow.
226 million cubic yards have been utilized. 71 miles of barrier islands constructed. We lost a lot of sand.
Right.
Because in the past, there wasn't a big focus on segmented breakwater rocks.
Right.
That policy has changed. And, first of all, I want to thank Jeff Landry. He's he's the one that I'm on his cabinet,
right.
And he's on board with all this. He's
Right.
big into coastal restoration.
Right.
He's familiar with everything we're doing here.
Yeah.
He's constantly updated on it.
Right.
So we had 71 miles of barrier islands and 396 miles of levees improved.
Right.
The next one, that 1.98 is really 1.4.
Right.
Because we're doing away with 500 million of. When I say doing away, we're reallocating the money to other projects.
Right.
Because when this was done, we hadn't officially terminated the large diversion. So
Right.
that's we're going to pick up $2.3 billion to use throughout the parishes in Louisiana.
Wow.
You had 21 dredging projects, 16,000 acres benefited. You have 145 active projects because you're not doing
That restoration,
barrier.
right.
And then you have 13,000 direct jobs. That's probably going to change to about 10,000.
Wow.
And so the next one is the master plan timeline. We're already going to the 2029 master plan.
Wow.
So there'll be meetings all over the state. If you have a project or you think something should be done, we covered pretty good, but we want your input.
Right.
And the next one, this just shows you the southeast region where we are at, all the projects. I mean,
Right.
I couldn't list them all.
84 active projects. That's
Right.
remarkable.
And then the next one is the southeast also.
Okay.
And I think that's okay. And then the Bayou des Allemands, that's the one I was talking about. That's a 270-foot floodgate.
Oh, very
That should be
nice.
under construction in 6-7 months.
Okay.
Maybe quicker than that.
Right.
We've got $50 million funded out of the $90 million. That will protect Lafourche and St. Charles.
St. Charles parishes.
Especially North Lafourche. Remember, the water goes up des Allemands and it comes into North Lafourche.
In the North Lafourche, right?
And then it creamed Kramer last time.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
of course, it did the same thing over in St. Charles.
St. Charles Parish.
And with Tim Jewell, with Matt Jewell and all in, and he's building a lot of pump stations over there. So
Okay.
is Lafourche.
Okay.
And so is Terrebonne.
All right.
And so I wanted to show this. We're building a 1,200 CFS pump station in Grand Bayou.
Okay.
That is to put fresh water from the intercoastal, not the Mississippi.
Okay,
From the intercoastal
okay.
into between Terrebonne and Lafourche, where we're losing that the quickest.
Right.
This is well been under design. We're going to fund it, and then we're going to move forward with it.
Okay. Very nice.
Next one is you've seen 100 times, Moganza with the floodgates. And
Yep. Wow.
I'd be remiss not to go. I could spend an hour on that, of course.
Sure.
That goes from Gibson all the way to Lafourche. It's
Yep.
continuous now. It's tied in. It's saved us from 3 major hurricanes already.
Yep.
Thank Tony Alpha and his board and Angela had
Yep.
now go in that group.
And everything that they're doing.
And the next one, I think, is another Moganza.
Moganza, right.
The Bubba Dove lock system. The Bubba Dove floodgate has been in place since 13. We're building the lock system.
Right.
That will stop the aggressive high salinity salt water from going north.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's a big south wind, the gate's closed.
Right.
And you can come and go. Now, there's 110 foot between the wing walls.
Okay.
But if you have a bigger vessel than that, which would, with 110 foot, you could probably go with an 85 foot vessel.
Right.
Then they open a Bubba Dove, which is 250 foot.
Right.
So you don't hurt commerce.
Right.
You can still come in with the larger
We can
vessel.
still open those if we need
And
to.
then the next pictures are just pictures of the Bubba Dove.
Right.
This is the lock system being built. It is sector gates. It's 23 feet on the unprotected side, the south side.
Okay.
And 10 feet on the inside.
Okay. 23 on one side, 10 on the other.
Yeah, and then this here is actually construction pictures. Sea Level is doing it. Sea Level has done a lot of our projects.
Yep.
Very good company.
Very professional.
Richard and his group, if I know they get it, there's some other good contractors.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But when Richard and them are out there, I know the job getting done. Richard Rowe.
Yeah.
But there's another picture of the H&C under
Right.
construction. There you go with the barges.
Right.
They're driving pilings on the unprotected wall or the south wall.
South wall.
The other one is the pad. The next one is the pad where the building's going to go to operated. The Corps will be operating this, not us.
Right. The Corps is.
We did this deal with Tony Alpha and them.
Right.
We got the Corps. They're going to fund and operate this.
Right. All right.
And,
Last
and then
slide.
the next one is Bayou Chene. That stops all the backwater flooding. That's $90 million. That's the last high water. That's held back 2 foot of water coming into Terrebonne.
Wow.
It's already done its job. The middle of that is Terrebonne's on this side. St. Mary is on the other side.
Right.
That's
And
in the middle of the boundary.
So again, great projects. Gordy, we thank you so very much for the updates. We're always glad to have you come on and share those with us. We know your time is valuable. We appreciate it very much.
Oh, thank you. And look, Martin and 8TV, yourself, y'all have kept up with Coastal from day one.
Yeah, we want to keep doing that with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Going Public, but don't go anywhere. I got a whole lot more right here on HTV.